Hey y'all, it's Nomadic Shaman here. Thank you so much for visiting my page. Your girl changed up. I'm in something a lot more cozy and a lot more warm. Y'all, it's cold outside. Okay, it is freezing, and I'm in the DMV where the snowstorm, one of the many places that's experiencing the snowstorm. So your girl had to get comfy, okay, and warm and bundled up. So here I am. Look at this. My microphone matches the edging of my robe. Anyhow, no shame to my game. I'm going to share downloads. I'm going to share messages that I received from my spiritual team. They're going to run the gamut, okay? It is going to be a mixed bag, throwing everything in the kitchen sink, okay? But I will try my best to streamline it and to clarify things, okay? First things first. What is the first thing? Because you know your girl wrote it. Two things. I always say two things. Let's start with the first one. Received a message from Archangel Michael. First of all, let me say this. For those who do not know, I am an open channel and I am a medium. Okay, so I do communicate with those who've transitioned and who've passed on to the other side, as well as energetic beings. One of those types of energetic beings or categories would be angelic beings. Okay, I communicate with them heavily. Now, Archangel Michael came through, and he did have a message. It's rather harsh, but I'm going to share it. Is those who are involved in sex magic or who perform astral rape. Those on innocent ones, more specifically on chosen ones who are on their divine path, that will cease in the sense where any being, right, who performs sex magic or does astral rape on chosen ones, chosen beings, divine beings, elect ones who are on their path, their judgment is castration. Y'all, and the message was, I said, well, help me explain this. What do you mean castration? Obviously, I know what castration is, but I want to know, explain it as far as what is that physically going to look like. So in men, I don't give a fuck if you're part of a coven. I don't give a fuck if you're in occultic practices. If you so much engage in sex magic or you so much engage in astral rape of divine beings who are on their divine path, you will be castrated. That means physically you will experience erectile dysfunction. Good luck getting that shit up, okay? Because it's staying down. That's number one. For women, how that's going to play out is fertility issues, discomfort within the reproductive system, within the poom area where it's either going to stink up the joint so much people aren't going to want to engage in you or with you, and or sexually transmitted diseases or pain. Okay, these are some of the ways that it's going to manifest to ensure that you do not engage in sex magic or astral rape when it comes to performing sex magic on divine beings. Okay, divine beings, chosen ones, elect ones who are on their divine path and assignment. That was a message straight from Archangel Michael. Okay, angel of truth and justice. All right. The next part, We're on January 25th. January 25th. It is Sunday. So as of January 25th, Sunday, I have not received anything from the courts, okay? Regarding assets, inheritance, as well as any information on trust funds or even subpoenas to the courts, okay? This is just me vocalizing, okay, as of January 25th of 2026. Have not received it in the mail. Now, 2 downloads that I received that are relative to court, since we are on court. I spoke about this in a previous video, but my spiritual team had informed me to look up protective order. One of the things that I did not know, I wasn't aware of, is that protective orders are supposed to be enforced even across state lines. So even if, let's say, it was drawn up originally in one state and you happen to move far on the other side of the country in a different state, law enforcement is supposed to uphold the protective order. Now, one thing that I discovered that I didn't know is, and I wrote it down, protective order is for people in domestic relationships. So that would be family, spouse, shared household members. And again, it spans across state lines. That's supposed to be upheld and honored by the judicial system across state lines. This is what I found out. And then there are peace orders. So here I am, and so this is where Spirit had corrected me. Because I had called it, I had a protective order against Diana as it concerns me, originated in Pennsylvania. Let me tell you something else too, because it had also come to my attention that she tried to remove it from public view, okay? Public view. So that's interesting. Anyways, so what I found out was peace orders, okay? So peace orders, which is what I have, is protective orders for non-domestic situations. So that would include neighbors, dating partners, strangers, okay? So what I have is actually a peace order, not a protective order, which is effective in the state of Pennsylvania and Maryland, should be in DC and Virginia, okay? Now, the other part that I wanted to explain, I'm looking at my notes here, y'all. The other part that I wanted to explain is, wait, let me just pause right here. It's interesting because Spirit had informed me that she moved. She moved in my area, okay, of where I'm located now. She is in my area. So, which means that she is violating this peace order, okay? That's number one. And I'm also being informed that she's so close, I could walk to it. I could walk to the house that she is currently renting out. This is what Spirit has informed me. Okay. Even gave me the address. Ain't that something? So the next piece of information is I saw binoculars. Okay. Binoculars. So I said, Spirit, why are you showing me binoculars? The Spirit was showing me binoculars It had also shared with me that someone was using binoculars to look into my apartment, whether it is in a different apartment building or even houses behind my apartment building, looking into my apartment with the use of binoculars, or parked cars, okay, using binoculars to look into my apartment. Um, Interesting. So that's what I wanted to share about that. Now let's go ahead and take it back to when I was in Florida for a work trip. This was back in January. So what Spirit shared with me a couple of things. A couple of things. One, my apartment was broken into because it was done so without my knowledge, consent, acknowledgement, or permission. Two people, Diana, maintenance man, and Spirit informed me it was done on January 5th at 11:55 p.m. So between 11:30 and midnight. This is when it was done. Spirit had also informed me that another camera was added into my apartment complex. So what is that? That makes like a total of that makes a total of 5. Well, no, because maintenance man took one out of the bathroom. So that's 4. That's 4. Okay. Yep. So that's 4 cameras, hidden cameras implanted in my apartment complex. Okay. The other part, what's the other part that I want to mention? The other part is in Florida, when I went on my work trip in January, because I found out that that's when they implanted the hidden camera, was when I was away. Okay. But the other part of it, I started getting visions. So I'm walking in the hotel and I get them. I do get them. I get them as like warnings, okay? But as I'm walking down the hallway and I'm in this hotel, I felt like I was getting this reminder or flashes of Kanika. What's her name? Kanika Jenkins. You remember that story about Kanika Jenkins in the hotel? I think Chicago in the Crown Plaza. I believe that's the hotel she was staying. So as I'm walking literally down the hallway, making my way to the elevator, I start to get visions of her walking down the hallway. And so at first I thought, oh wow, is her spirit trying to connect with me, to do a video and to share? Or is it another spirit that's connected to that case that is trying to get my attention to share? Well, I wasn't even focused on that. I was focused on work, the other type of work that I do. And I just kind of shrugged it off because I thought I was bugging. Well, I'll have you know that Spirit was trying to warn me in the sense where they were trying to do me like Kanika Jenkins in the hotel. And that there was an orchestrated hit, so a murder for hire plot that was arranged while I was in Florida on that trip. And Spirit had informed me, and it's interesting because in the previous video, I had admitted that in my hotel room, I'm looking around and I'm seeing so many angels. And I'm like, why is there so many angels? I mean, I'm like, why are there so many angels here? Like, what's going on? And I didn't put 2 and 2 together. I just shrugged it off or dismissed it as just like added protection. Because, I stay on somebody's hit list. Okay. So I just figured it was just like added protection. So I dismissed it as such. But it wasn't until I believe the night before I was to check out did they inform me that Diana was indeed in Florida and she was in the hotel and she was on the floor, same floor that I was on. But they didn't tell me that it was an orchestrated hit until I was on my way to catch my flight. So, y'all. So, one thing I will say is that is one of the ways that spirit will protect you, in the sense is not divulge all of the information right then and there and give you bits and pieces and chunks, just so that you're not reacting or responding prematurely to something. You know what I'm saying? In other words, you're walking on or continuing on as if you don't know, because you don't know, and it's safer for you that way. And so my angelic team, who is also part of my spiritual team, they made their presence known. So it was obvious that I was protected in that moment, but they didn't share or divulge those details until I was on my way to catch my flight. I was just like, well, I'll be damned. Can't stop, won't stop, huh? That's what I was. I said, ain't this about a bitch, you know? Which also explains why I saw the large amount of police presence. And then I also picked up on private eye detectives energies, but I picked that up on both sides, okay, meaning for and against me. When I say against me, I'm talking about meaning hired by the ops to look into me, okay. And then I also picked up on a large presence of FBI, okay. And so I was just wondering, I'm like, damn, what's going on? Why is everybody's all up in here? Like, what the hell's going on? You know? And it wasn't until I was, again, on my way to the airport when my angelic team, spiritual team, had shared with me, gave me the details of what was going on and why there was a huge presence of protection. Because apparently somebody had plans for me, okay, while I was at that hotel. Um, let me see what else. So anything, what I will say about this though is that communication had just reiterated, at least for me, is to not take any type of warnings lightly, okay? Regardless of how subtle. And first to be able to identify whether or not that warning is for me or if it's a warning message for somebody else, okay? And then allow that to determine how I move accordingly within that space. Now, I will leave that there. So where are we at? We are at 19 minutes. So you know what? I'm just gonna leave it. I'm gonna leave that there. But if anything, just a reminder, y'all, pay attention to your intuition. Don't be so quick to shrug it off, regardless of how subtle it is. Sit in silence or take that time to be in silence so that you can hear when God is talking to you, the Holy Spirit is talking to you, and shit, in my case, dead people. I don't want to say dead people, but angels, my spiritual team, and those who have transitioned, who I work with, you know. So in that respect, um, just to, you know, revel in those quiet moments so that one is able to hear, okay, especially when you're given warnings, synchronicities, signs, or downloads, and that can come in any type of form, right? So I'm going to leave that there for today, and then I'll see you on the other side, y'all. Until that, peace.